Thank you everyone for coming over so early to join this knowledge sharing on coffee. So Coffeestication is the combination of coffee and sophistication. It indicates the coffee market in China is moving towards a level of sophistication. Does sound okay? And in this study, we will explore together the evolution of coffee culture in China and look at some of the market status, including the market size, the consumer trends, the product innovation, and the brand activation, et cetera, et cetera. And then we'll dive into some of the best practices from the leading Chinese coffee brands. And then last but not least, we will, for those who want to enter and accelerate in the coffee markets, for those foreign brands, we have created this framework, the localization framework, to help them to assess and analyze the level of the maturity of the localization. To begin with, I would like to show everyone a video about a Blue Bottle Coffee, the opening day in 2022. And the madness is beyond crazy. So as we all know, the Blue Bottle Coffee is American coffee retailer and a roaster. And I think the first, probably the first contact with this brand for people in China was through the cross-border social platform Red. And the Chinese travelers and overseas residents posts, video and pictures of this brand, and then we got to know this brand. So let's have a look. So this is the opening day, as I said. The flagship store in Shanghai, actually, the first flagship store. And it said that you have to, the maximum line up for 7 hours, 6 hours outside, and then one hour inside for the coffee making. So totally it adds up like 7 hours to enjoy a cup of coffee. Okay, due to time constraint, let's move forward. Shanghai has become the city that has the most coffee shops in the world, and followed by Tokyo, London, and New York. And these numbers exclude the coffee services from the convenience stores and fast food restaurants. And just to help you visualize, take our office as the center, we found 30 coffee shops within 500 meters. So I think it's 6 coffee shops per 100 meters. So you can see the density of the coffee shops in downtown Shanghai. And brands, fashion brands, luxury brands, they start to open a retail space with food and beverage services, such as Maison Margiela, the Ralph Lauren, the Boucheron, and et cetera, et cetera. And this coffee truck was launched by Ralph Lauren as a pop-up in Beijing Wangfujing near its store. And so you can see in the picture, it attracted, tremendous amount of online and offline traffic. And, people post their, posts this coffee truck on their social platforms. And same for the Louis Vuitton, it was the Louis Vuitton pop-up, men's collection pop-up at the end of 2021, down the streets at Kimbo Cafe. Although it was mainly for the fashion collection, but who would reject a delicious cup of coffee, with a customized Louis Vuitton coffee cup. So the brand offered the entry experiences for people who are interested but intimidated by the price of the ready-to-wear collection. And now let's look at the coffee culture evolution. So although China is renowned for its tea, the coffee beans have long arrived over 170 years ago, and from my generation, Nescafe was the first coffee brand to remember, especially the iconic, the classic coffee and the creamer sets. And at that time, the Nescafe heavily adapted, greatly adapted to the locals' taste. And then from the 90s to the early years of 2010, drinking or consuming coffee was mainly for the social purposes, and Starbucks entered China market and thrived quickly. Same for Costa Coffee and Shandao Coffee, which is, I think it's Hong Kongese or Taiwanese coffee brands. And then with the since 2017, with the rise of a new retail model in China, Luckin Coffee seized the chance and successfully transformed the coffee retail and consumption scenarios in China. And then as the COVID hits in 2020, people tend to enjoy having coffee at home. And many premium instant coffee brands start to rise and gain momentum, such as Settenberg Coffee. And these years, people seek for quality, signifies, the maturity level. The consumption, the coffee consumption is maturing up. And not just the quality, I think people are still seeking for aesthetics. A brand's aesthetics and the presentation of the coffee and its, unique packaging is also something that greatly attracts consumers. And in terms of the coffee retail market, we can see the coffee retail market size is growing over the years and will take another leap in 2023, according to the estimation, and registering compound annual growth rates of 26% from 2018 to 2023. Despite the growth, China is still, at the right chart, we can see China is still very low compared to, in terms of annual coffee consumption per capita, very low compared to the other Asian counterparts. However, the high-tier cities, such as Tier 1, especially the Tier 1 cities, actually have reached, the leading international level of the annual coffee consumption per capita. And for those who have developed the coffee drinking habits, more than half of the people have the intention to keep increasing the frequency of drinking coffee. And especially the people from Tier 1 cities, they have doubled their consumption compared to the past, and they will keep increasing the frequency and showing that the coffee consumption is from, catching up a trend to the daily necessities for them. So let's look at the market characteristics from 3 dimensions: the product innovation, the consumption scenario, which is the consumer trends, and the brand activation. Let's trace back to the coffee origin in China and explore the creativity in taste and social content. So China's coffee planting areas and outputs are less than 2% in the world, and Yunnan province has a dominant 98% of the total China's planting areas and outputs, while Hainan takes up less than 2%. And in terms of the coffee beans, Yunnan produces Arabica coffee beans, and Hainan produces Robusta. I think Arabica is mainly for the fresh coffee, used in the coffee shops, and the Robusta coffee beans is mainly used in instant coffees. And in 2021, according to the China Custom, the export value of coffee beans and the products reached 157 million USD. And in this number, Yunnan takes the biggest parts of the total export value. And you can see, Starbucks and Xiaoyangqiao has their, Yunnan, with a Yunnan flavor, launched the Yunnan coffee beans. And Xiaoyangqiao is a Hainan niche coffee brand. So I think their coffee beans are, are rising, showing up into the consumer's eyes more often. And in terms of the coffee products, the instant coffee is still taking up the biggest part, 6-8%, followed by fresh coffee and the ready-to-drink coffee. It's showing that convenience is still being the biggest driver for China's coffee markets. And as the ever-evolving products, the coffee product has evolved into many forms, into freeze-dried coffee, the concentrated coffee liquids, the drink bag, and the coffee even infused with nitrogen, etc. And here we listed some guochao. We have seen this trend of guochao taste with. It's actually the traditional ingredients with a modern or trendy twist. So here we have listed 6 coffees, and the most interesting is the multi coffee, the Chinese vodka. I think it costs 60 kuai.
99 per drink.
I'm sorry.
99.
99. Yeah, it's quite expensive.
For coffee.
For a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
But it has an alcohol.
Yeah.
Oh,
Has
you
multi.
Okay.
So it
With
wakes
multi.
you up and relaxes you at the same time.
Yes, we've tried that in the coffee tasting. And others like Gorgon fruits and the goji berry coffee latte. Actually, they are the ingredients that are often used in the Chinese medicine. So they are both nutritious and also interesting. I think it's a very innovative way to make a coffee in China like that. And coffee has become something that triggers social sharing, and we have seen tremendous creative coffee-related content on social platforms like Douyin. And we have chosen 2 videos to show you. So this coffee shop is in Yongping Li, and the coffee is inspired by the island in Thailand. And you can see it's very presentable and Instagrammable. And also it has this unique packaging that can trigger the social sharing. And the second is the Akimbo Cafe that I mentioned for the Louis Vuitton down the street. And they have, this cocktail infused with coffee. So what I want to say is that the coffee social content is. Sorry. So what I want to say is that coffee, the social sharing actually pushes the coffee innovation to form a virtuous circle. And next, let's look at some of the consumer trends. As I said, Shanghai has become the city with the most coffee shops. And the people in Shanghai tend to start to appreciate the fresh coffee more and more. And as you can see at the right charts, the instant coffee, the fresh coffee is growing over the years and squeezes the market share of the instant coffee. Although instant coffee is still taking up a bigger share than the fresh coffee. So here we have the comparison of top 10 brand awareness versus top 10 brand preferences. And we have mainly 3 findings. The first is that traditional, coffee brands, either both Chinese and foreign brands, with biggest impacts start to lose their charm. And second is that out of the 10 brands, half of them are Chinese. So it very clearly shows the momentum that the Chinese brands have created. And the third is that, to my surprise, Peace Coffee, with less brand awareness, ranked top 1 in terms of overall emotional performance. And I couldn't believe this until I audited this brand. And they did a very amazing job in terms of marketing, the brand activation, and et cetera, et cetera. And I can show you in the channelification framework. And so what I want to show is that, foreign brands with less brand awareness, actually has more chance to win consumers' hearts if they are doing the things right. Who's this? Outdoor coffee consumption is, on the rise, obviously, and especially through the hits of the COVID in 2020, people start to want to enjoy the outdoor, the fresh air and the lights more. So the coffee truck actually shows the rising availability of coffee service on the road in your trip on the journey. And in the urban areas, coffee retailers start to transform the stores into glamping areas to create this outdoor atmosphere, to meet this kind of needs from consumers. And during the lockdown in last year, people lacked necessities, and not just that, they also craved for coffee, and many coffee brands started to adjust their business model and getting closer, build a stronger relationship with the communities, and launched the group buy business model on WeChat. And at that time, because they tend to enjoy coffee and have coffee more at home, the coffee machine actually start to rise. The sales on Tmall is also growing. And let's look at some of the brand activations. Brands, they leverage social platforms to promote the products through live streaming, through the on Douyin, and private traffic group buy through WeChat, and also launch the new business model, comparatively new business model in China, the subscription model, so that to target the heavy coffee drinkers. And offline retail has, in order to meet consumers' ever-changing needs, they have transformed them into, several business models, and in a different time, from different time in the day to, for different purposes, such as, store as pickup booths. So the Starbucks collaborated with Alibaba's Hema to launch the Star Kitchen several years ago, and basically it's a coffee booth that offering fresh coffee, and people can order on Hema app, and also take away pick up at the store within several minutes. And Tim Hortons has launched the Team's Go, especially dedicated to the takeaway. In the store as experience, we have seen, foreign brands and the Chinese brands have launched their concept store, such as the Saturn Bird Coffee. They have this Into the Forest concept store on Anfu Road. and everything, the furnitures are, very special and movable and transformable, so that the space can be used for brands, activities, etc., and etc., and for communities as well. And Starbucks Reserve Roastery obviously has a very rich experiences such as AR engagements, the live shows, etc., the Tivana, etc. And this is the second biggest Starbucks Reserve Roastery. And last but not least, store can also act as a hybrid hangout place. We have seen this trend that's, the coffee in the daytime and the drinks at night. And coffee retailers have used their space, maximize the use of their space, and to meet more people's needs. People can, after work, they can drink a coffee, relax, and in the daytime, they have coffee and grab and go. So it's very a hybrid retail space. And coffee brands, you think of a way to give more immersive experience, such as in this case. So the audience was brought to the farm, the coffee farm in Yunnan, to converse, to communicate in real time with those farmers and people from the brand. And this largely increases the credibility of a brand, and also show them the quality of the brand, very authentic from the coffee farms. And also we have seen some slightly weak signals, such as the well-being aspect in China. I know it's very popular in overseas, but in China, it's still, kind of weak. Such as, brands like Starbucks and other coffee brands launch, healthy food, either vegetarian or vegan friendly, and they collaborate with plant-based milk, such as Oatly, very popular. And they launched this coffee alternatives products made by, a plant. Actually, basically, it's a plant-based coffee alternative. And also for fitness maniac, they also have this product that's infused with supplements, like the keto coffee, etc. But those, I call them weak signal, because most of the products here, especially on the right, they are accessible, only available on the Tmall Global. So it's not, often seen in the China markets. And the sustainability has been a very hot topic, frequently discussed over the years for almost all the brands. And here we have seen mainly three trends: the recycling and upcycling, from such as the Saturn Bird coffee. They allow users to redeem the coffee cups for small lifestyle gifts, such as tote bag, the T-shirts, the coffee cups. And actually, they use this initiative to transform their weakness, because the cups are all made of plastic. Transform the weakness into a strength. It adds experiences. And also for Starbucks, they use the coffee grounds to make coffee cup. And for same for the manners, they have encouraged the consumers to bring their own cup for a discount of 5 RMB off. And Starbucks launched, in this year's launched Asia's first greener store in Shanghai. And from the interior design, the building, to the energy they use, and to the operations, have all been implemented with the sustainability concepts. And this store will be also used for the further innovation in terms of sustainability. And okay, let's look at some of the rising Chinese brands. The first is the iconic, not iconic, it's legendary Chinese coffee brand Luckin, mostly boomed from 2018 to 2020, from a startup to a unicorn. And it's famous for the O2O, and let me have a drink. it's famous for the O2O business model with its app, so that's allowing consumers to order online and pick up offline in the store. And also they can choose the takeaway service, where they partner with Shunfeng Logistics, which is Chinese FedEx, to build the brand credibility through efficient delivery. And to our surprise, the price of a coffee is still very low, and actually it squeezes the markets of Starbucks. And backed by the VC, the venture capital over the years, it's somehow urged the Starbucks to form partnership with third-party food delivery platforms such as Alibaba's Ele.me and later Meituan, etc. Because Starbucks never wanted to do the partnership with a third-party delivery platform. And the second is the Manner Coffee, largely favored by Gen Z, and it's famous for the crossover collaboration with mainly fashion and beauty mobility brands. And its focus is mainly on the tier 1 cities in the downtown areas, but with the affordable price. So their price is between Starbucks and Luckin. So per cup, 1 cup is around 20 to 30 kuai. So I think it's quite acceptable for the Chinese, especially Shanghainese. And they also have implemented these sustainability practices to increase their brand awareness and social impact. Last but not least is Saturn Bird. So Saturn Bird started with the UGC content seeding on the food menu platform, and through its unique packaging, the little cup. And then after launching the Tmall store in 2018, it set a record of over 10 million sales in a month. So nowadays, it's largely recognized by the young generations, and it has launched, as I said, a concept store called Into the Force, serving as a third space for social and community experiences. And also, this concept store is actually the extension of the online mini program. So in a mini program, it has this podcast service experience, and also, the sustainability upcycle, the recycling project that users can register and engage online and offline. And the last but not least is the Chinafication framework that we have created. So we found 7 brands, foreign brands, and based on their social and commercial traction, we have brands from Italy, Switzerland, USA, and Canada. And we allocate the points based on if they have a certain localization elements or not, so either 1 or 0. And then we use the total score at the bottom to analyze and to assess their maturity level of the localization. So here, obviously, we can see from the total score, Lavazza and Blue Bottle still have room to grow. So they are currently at adaptation stage, while other brands have already entered a creation stage. And another thing that we have found that social media, e-commerce, social commerce in the offline stores have been, implemented by all the brands in the panel. And the channel strategy is actually the most favored, preferred strategy among all the elements. And meanwhile, we have found that the products, the China new product development and the localized assets here are very key tactics but the product nickname, the IP collaboration, and influencer, and the localized storytelling, can make a brand really stands out, because not all the brands are doing this, and they do that to make them, to be prominent, to have more presence among the Chinese consumers. So in terms of the opportunities and the challenges, we have concluded some of the key takeaways in terms of 4 aspects. So for the market, throughout the study, we can sense that China has the potential and is still growing and maturing. And the next is that premiumization. We want to emphasize on the premiumization, make sure the quality is good as the very key for coffee brands. And I think it will benefit in the long term for brands, even though they probably struggling the price. Maybe some consumers from lower tier cities, they want to buy very cheap price coffee, but for the long term, the premiumization is the key. And success in your home market does not guarantee success in China. Some brands enter the China markets without enough assessments and analysis. So I think some of the costs that is very different and even higher to compete with the Chinese coffee brands, because they are very aggressive, as we can see. In terms of the products, fundamental innovation is very important. I think it's important for all the brands, the foreign brands, Chinese brands, and for all the industries. I think it's one of the keys to keep the innovation in terms of products, in terms of the packaging, in terms of the taste, store innovation are all important. And high quality, as I said, you cannot compromise the high quality. It's very key for Chinese consumers to recognize you and to like you in the long term. In terms of the consumption, because we have received some of the inquiries from Italian brands, and they want to know if espresso is something that Chinese consumers will like. But obviously, the Chinese people has not accepted espresso that much. So it's not, China market is not espresso market, and and plus I have found some Japanese or other Chinese instant coffee. They have launched this espresso product with much convenience, so that they can give up somehow the rituals for espresso, and it somehow shows that again convenience is the biggest driver for the coffee consumption in China. And the last but not least is the activation. From all the brands that I've audited, they have all implemented a sustainability trend, and I think it will, as the awareness of Chinese consumers rise over the years, it will be even more important and even become a deal breaker for Chinese consumers. And right on positive cultural association with your home country, I think the cultural symbols are the things that can associate, that Chinese consumers can associate the most. The first thing I can think of a brand is the cultural symbols. So don't forget that. I think it's largely can be associated with storytelling, or online and offline coffee academies, to tell to educate consumers with your country culture. Alliances can allow you to growth head. It's basically saying that the collaboration, either crossover collaboration or the artist collaboration, are all important for brands to grow. And remember the comparison of two top 10 lists. the top two coffee brands with the highest overall emotional performance, they have done, tremendous, massive collaborations with various brands. And last but not least, to benchmark the agility of Chinese coffee brands to adapt to local trends. So obviously Chinese brands are very aggressive in the markets, and I think some of the brands, they want to stick to tradition. They want to stick to the rituals, and I think it's time for them to open their mind to not to follow up, but to be aware and watch the market constantly to be agile to the China markets. And I have audited the Peet's Coffee, etc. But due to time constraints, how much time do we have? I have audited, almost all the brands: Peet's Coffee, Lavazza, and Illy Coffee, and they have all done, different, elements. Especially the Peet's Coffee, they are good at. I think the most thing for them to stand out is the storytelling, the localized storytelling, while other brands have not done this. And also they have this collaboration with not just the beauty and fashion brands, but iconic music festival, such as the Strawberry Festival, and with the Lincoln Center for, the Lincoln Center was often used for concerts. And various brands, like they launch, the bike tour with yoga and, outdoor sports brands. And also they have a very good digitalization, gamification on the platform, such as Tmall EC platform, and also on the WeChat platform. And this is the Peet's Museum on WeChat, so that people can, click and know the brands with the brand education, and also get to know the coffee, and implement it with different services inside this virtual tool. And I think that's it.